Hi, I'm Andy Webb. Welcome to my channel. This is the place to be if you want to make the most from your money. That means saving money, making money, and better managing your money. And when I talk about that, often I'm giving you a review of the best products out there. And that's what I'm doing today. I'm going to be talking about what is potentially one of the best current accounts in the UK from one of the best banking brands. It is the Nationwide FlexDirect account. Why do I say it's one of the best UK current accounts and banks? Well, lots of people say the same thing. Which magazine in 2020 awarded it best banking brand above First Direct and Starling? Money Saving Expert on its group gives it 74% great in terms of customer services. Ethical Consumer magazine ranks it the best out of all the big banks in terms of how ethical the accounts are. And I asked people in my Be Clever with Your Cash community on Facebook what their favourite bank was. And again, Nationwide topped that poll above Starling and Monzo. So lots of people are saying it's a good account. And actually, I use this. This is my number one account that I tend to use day in, day out when I'm transferring money around. Again, I spend a lot on cashback credit cards, you've spoken about before, but this is my number one account, my main account. My money comes into there and it goes out of there. So all of that might be, you might think, do you know what? That's all I need to know. If all these people, including you, Andy, say this is one of the best accounts, it's the one that you use, then sign me up, I'll do it. But things have changed a lot over the last year. They've changed for everyone, but some things have happened which potentially make the Nationwide FlexDirect account not as good as it used to be. And there are a couple of things I'm not massively a huge fan of. So what I want to do is I want to take you through what you get when you open this account, the good things, why they're maybe not as good as they were, why some of them are better than they were, and I guess ultimately my views on whether you should be going for this account at all. So let's start off with one very quick thing to point out. Nationwide is a building society rather than a bank, but that means nothing to you in terms of how this account works. You will get a debit card as you saw there. You will have loads of branches you can go to. There is online banking, there is app banking, there is telephone banking. There is everything you would get from one of the big banking current accounts. Essentially, it is a bank in all intents and purposes. It's just technically a building society. So don't sort of think, oh, hang on, what does that mean? It means nothing really when we're talking about this account. First of all, let's talk about the reasons why you might want to go for this account, why it's been so popular, why I've recommended it to so many people over the years. The first one, the main reason I used to recommend it to people was the in-account interest. The Nationwide FlexDirect account has been the leading place for your savings. Better than any ISA, better than any savings account. It has had the highest rate for years. Now this was, until earlier this year, 5% on 2.5 grand. So that first 2.5 grand you had an account, you would earn 5%. Amazing. In a year, that was worth £125. Absolutely brilliant, right? You could not beat it anywhere. Brilliant return, easy money, as long as you had that in savings. Sadly, like all the different banks, rates have dropped and it is now offering you 2%. So 3% to 2% is a big drop, and the amount you earn that interest on has also dropped from 2.5 grand to 1.5 grand. So whereas before you were earning £125 in a year, now you're earning £30. That's a lot less. It's still the highest rate you can get. The Virgin Money current account just a smidge ahead of that at 2.02%, but that's only on £1,000 you have saved. So in terms of your return, the Nationwide FlexDirect is still the best rate out there. But I say, that's a big drop, isn't it? It's £90 less a year in order moving your bank or opening up a new account. Is it worth it? Well, it kind of makes sense in lots of ways to always try and get the highest you can on much of your savings, highest rate you can. Because if anything's below inflation, it's losing money in real terms. So let's say inflation is 0.5% or even 1%. If you're earning less than that, your money is losing its value. Anything above that, it is gaining value. And obviously the higher the interest rate previously was, then inflation could have been higher as well. So it's a bit sort of pick and mix on that, but I still think it's worth considering. It's still absolutely, if you want to get the best rate, this is the one to go for. Now, a few things you need to know about it. To get the interest, you have to pay in £1,000 every single month. So otherwise you won't get interest for that month. Now, if you earn a salary, that's easy to do. You either pay it into this account or you can pay it into another account and then transfer the money over. The other thing to know is that you only get this promotional rating, this promotional interest rate for the first 12 months. You have to have not had this account before. If you've had it before, closed it and open it again, you will not get this promotional rate. It's just the first time you open it. And it is just for that 12 months. After 12 months, the rate drops to 0.25%. And in that first year and after that, any money above that £1.5 is earning nothing at all. So really, this is about that first year in terms of getting that best rate for your savings. After that, it becomes a bit redundant. One important thing to say here as well is that 2% is fixed. It will not change in that 12 months. So if you sign up for it, you will get that for the full year. There's no chance, like every other account where the rates are variable and drop, that won't happen. So that's another positive to go with it. So the important things to know about this account in terms of savings. There was also used to be a regular savers account that was linked for FlexDirect customers. That went a long time ago and hasn't been properly replaced. So again, not as appealing from that point of view in terms of continuous savings, but in terms of if you have a lump sum now, that is the best place for it. And in fact, I've always treated this account as really as a way to put your savings. So you can have it easily, open it up as a separate account, put your money in, have that £1.5 in, pay £1 in, put it back out to your other account. You do not have to switch to get this interest rate. You can just be a separate account that you open. Now, I said you can only have it once in your lifetime, one account for you, and only the first time you open it to get that rate. There is a little bit of a hack that if you have a partner and they also have an account, then you can open up a joint account as well. So potentially that's 3 accounts between the two of you. You'll get that 2% on £4.5 saved up, increases that interest for that year to 90 quid. Okay, the next thing that makes this account something that I often recommended to people was the switching bonus. Now, it doesn't operate like a lot of the other switching account bonuses where you can just sign up via the website. With Nationwide, you have to be referred by an existing customer. So someone who's got an account, fills in the details, sends you a form. If you signed up and then switched from another bank into the Nationwide FlexDirect, you would get £100, and so would your friend who referred you. And in fact, your friend could refer up to 5 people every 12 months. So they potentially can make £500 for it. And in fact, when you open an account, got your £100 bonus from being referred, you could then start referring people. So that was a nice way to get a little bit more, a greater incentive. Now that was paused back at the start of the pandemic in spring 2020. And at the time of recording this, 7 and a bit months later, it's still on pause. It's still on hold. They haven't cancelled it, so it could come back. Fingers crossed, it will come back, because when that does come into play, all of a sudden, if you were to switch over, get 100 quid and then get that 30 quid interest bonus on top, it starts feeling a lot kind of more attractive compared to other accounts where you essentially get 125 quid and some freebies, whatever it might be, for switching over. But the moment that is paused. So from those 2 points, you might be sort of thinking, actually, let's pause. Let's not go for it. But there are a couple of reasons where it might be worth going for it right now. The first one of these is if you have an overdraft. Now, I've spoken about this before. Overdrafts this year have become astronomically expensive. They are one of the most expensive ways to borrow money because the rate at most different banks is going to be close to 40%. That's huge. That's a change that came in 2020. You'll be paying 40% on any money you're overdrawn. Now, for some people, that change has made them less expensive. If you only occasionally went overdrawn for like a day or two every month, but if you're someone who is overdrawn most, if not all of the month, this is going to get very expensive, going to cost you a lot of money. But Nationwide, a FlexDirect account could help you out. It could help you clear that overdraft faster, and it will save you cash while you do it. And that's because when you apply, that first time you apply again, remember, you can apply for a 0% overdraft for 12 months. Again, like the interest, you only get it for that first year, but it's 0%, which means no interest is charged. Now, exactly how much you get depends on a few different factors, including your credit report. So before you apply for the account, before you open it up, the Nationwide website does let you do a kind of a pre-approval eligibility check, and it will give you an idea. We think we will give you this amount, this size of overdraft. Now, if that's going to work for you, in fact, even if you say you've got £2,000 overdrawn right now, which is a lot of money, and they offer you £1,000, or you're £1,000 overdrawn right now, but they give you 500, that is still 50% of your overdraft where you are not going to be paying 40%. So do that. Get this overdraft if it's going to save you money, and then use it, the fact that you're not going to be paying any interest on it every month, put that extra cash you would have been paying in fees and charges to try and bite it away, bit by bit, nibble away. So when that 12 months is up, you're at least hopefully at that £0, if not in credit, and avoid going into the overdraft at all if you can. But that is one, regardless, obviously if you're overdrawn, you won't get any interest because there's no money, no positive money in there. Regardless of there being a switching incentive, that overdraft offer is a fantastic one. It's one of the few ways that you can help reduce the cost of that overdraft. So lots of positives there, I think. Whether you wait for a referral bonus to potentially come back in order to get that cash and then get the interest, whether you just go to get the interest now to get as much as you can, or whether you go to save money on your overdraft, lots of positive things there. Another really key thing here, and I mentioned it at the top, Ethical Consumer has ranked the Nationwide, generally the Building Society as a whole, but obviously this FlexDirect account as the main account, as one of the most ethical ones out there. What this basically means is that the money that you have sitting there in your savings, or whether you use it for other things, the money sitting there in your account, it can't be used by the bank for, or won't be used by the Building Society for things like funding fossil fuels. Nationwide say they won't do that. Potentially probably not going towards things like arms manufacturing. There's all these things you don't really realise that your money when it's sitting in a bank is what they're doing with it. HSBC, Barclays, NatWest, Lloyds, they're all ranked incredibly poorly, very, very, very low by Ethical Consumer magazine. So Nationwide is right up there. And out of the big ones where you can get a proper current account and do all these things with it, it's probably the best one for you. So if that's important to you, it's another really, really good reason to get that Nationwide account. Or actually, if you've still got it, but you've had it for more than 12 months, why you might want to stick with it and keep it. So that's another big positive for me for this account. Sadly, there is one thing which does my head in a little bit with Nationwide. As I said, this is my main account. And I obviously do most of my banking, like I'm sure a lot of you guys, I do most of my banking on the app. I rarely log in on a computer. I can do everything on the app, whoever I'm with. And I've got access to sort of 13 or 14 different current accounts. I use the apps different degrees, but the one that annoys me the most is probably the Nationwide one. Now, it's not a bad app in lots of ways. It's easy to see your balance, where it's coming and going. It has a few nice little features and such as sort of top-ups and the ability to kind of instantly save, which is all right. I mean, it's nothing particularly special, but it's no worse than you'd get with NatWest or Halifax or TSB or any of those big accounts. Absolutely fine. So don't worry about it in terms of that. It's more really a frustration and an annoyance, because if you want to set up a new payee in the app, you have to get a card reader. Do you remember card readers? Everyone used to have them, but now most banks, you do not need one of these. Sadly, to set up a new payee, you have to get a card reader. So what I end up doing, because that's always just a bit of a faff, I end up transferring the money to an account I've already got set up, whether that's TSB, whether that's Starling, whoever it might be, and then using that one to send money to new payees, which is it's a joke, really. It's ridiculous. And it's one of the reasons why I keep thinking about moving away from Nationwide as my main account. If I can get my arse in gear, right, and do this and just I have to sort out a lot of payments, because this is where my money goes. When I pay myself from my company, pay my salary, that's where the money comes in. And that's where I've got a lot of the kind of payments out to my other many different current accounts, which have minimum requirements. So £500 goes from a Nationwide to my TSB, £1,000 goes to this, all those kind of things that I do with my many accounts. You probably won't have this problem. If I can just sort that out, I will move them, I think, possibly to Starling Bank. Starling is a good bank. I really like it. Lots of really, really positive features. I will keep my Nationwide account, even though I'm not going to be earning the huge amounts of interest on it because I'm well over that first year. I will keep that account though. I possibly will use it as a place to keep any excess cash rather than put it in one of those kind of saying less ethical places. But it is something that really, really does annoy me. So if that's something that's to you sounds like it could be a bit of a problem, then you might want to think against this being your main account as well. If you're like, do you know what, I don't mind, I can have a card reader and my account, put it in, sort it out. Because we are literally probably only talking about a minute's worth of work each time you want to pay someone. Then maybe that's not so much of an issue for you. So a quick summary then about this account. The positives, the best thing I think about this account for you if you are overdrawn is that this is going to give you that 0% overdraft for 12 months. I think it's a no-brainer if you're overdrawn to go for one of these. Okay, fantastic. If you're worried about the ethics of where your money is being held, again, this is the best one, and it has positive policies. Other banks, such as Starling, score relatively well, but it's more that they don't do anything bad rather than they positively choose not to do anything bad. So I think ethically, again, it's difficult to get at a big account with all the things that come with it, like branches and telephone banking and internet banking, and free anywhere else. So those two things make it a very, very, very good account, and still I think potentially one of the best accounts. I agree about people talking about customer service being really good. When I've gone into branch, when I've been on the phone, very friendly, very supportive, not huge queues or anything like that. So again, lots of positives still there. In terms of the interest, it's still the best one out there. You still can't beat it. But that rate is so much lower than it was. The amount of money you make is so much smaller that it feels to me, personally, I would wait and see if a switching bonus comes back before jumping over to that account. You get that switching bonus of £100, then absolutely make sure you're earning that interest. Otherwise, maybe it's better looking at some of the other switching bonuses that are going on elsewhere. Get in that cash while you can, because it is much more money. You will make more from it. And finally, if you think you're going to have the same issues with the app that I do, plus the fact, realize that you can get a lot better features at Monzo and Starling, then maybe these all kind of suggest this isn't the one for you as your main account. But it absolutely could be part of that portfolio. If you're happy to have more than one account, and I think most people should have more than one account, you could have Nationwide as the place that your salary comes in, the place that you put your savings for that first year at least. Then you transfer every month money into your Monzo or your Starling, which still do relatively well ethically, and that's your spending account. That's where your day-to-day money comes in and out, where you pay, like if you like me, use a cashback credit card, that's where you pay your cashback credit card from. If you want to use your debit card for purchase instead, that's where you make your spending. And maybe then the other account that you have is Santander 123 Lite for your bills, something like that. That little portfolio of 3 accounts is a pretty solid one, particularly say in terms of ethics. Nationwide and Starling would be kind of like, goldish standard, if you like. Now, I'd love to know what you think of the Nationwide FlexDirect account. Do you have it? Have you had it in the past and left? Or is it one that you're thinking of moving over to? How important is it that you get high interest, or that it is kind of has an ethical policy and sort of substance behind it? I'd love to know, so leave me a comment below. Perhaps more important than that though, please do hit that like button. Tells me that you've enjoyed this video. It also tells YouTube to show this video to more people, and it really helps me grow this channel and reach more people. If you haven't already, I'd also appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button and that little notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. That's it though, until next time, cheers. And here are a couple more videos you might find interesting.